where, if you guys are watching this afterwards, this is where the recording will officially start. So like I said with office hours, if you guys show up early or anything, we can chat back and forth. We don't have to worry about it being recorded. I'll click go live at the beginning of class, and we'll be good moving forward. But if anyone is watching this that isn't in class, welcome to week 1 of Data Viz, fall 2024. For our storytelling section here, since we don't have any homework from last week, we are going to do classic little intros and icebreakers here. So we'll go around the room to start here, and then I'll kind of call on people remotely to chime in as well. Keep it short and sweet. Name, where do you currently work, if you currently work, and what do you do there? Why Omaha Data Science Academy, or potentially how you heard about it, decided to join. How much Tableau or other BI experience do you have? What do you hope to get most out of this class? And then fun one, if you had any superpower, what would it be? So I'll go first. Name Charlie Burtwissel, work at Builder why ODSA? Nate actually started, he talked about some of the consulting stuff that he does on the side. He consulted for Builder and I was, like I said, kind of the only person there at the time. So I've known Nate for 6 years, and we've used him in Omaha Data Science Academy a ton at Builder. They're awesome. I've been working in Tableau pretty much 6 years. I had 0 experience when I started at Builder, so picked it up from scratch, which you guys will all be able to do over the next 8 nights as well too. What do I hope to get most out of this class? Meet new people. I'm constantly trying to expand my data science network, and you guys are going to be the next great data scientists in Omaha. So super excited to know you guys early on. And if I had any superpower, it would be the ability to control time. And I'd mainly just pause time and sleep and play with my puppy constantly and not do any real stuff. So I'm horrible at names, so I'm going to point and say your name, and we'll go from there.
Cool. Luke Armstrong. And I work at my own company called Redmine. I'm a product designer, I guess is what I would say. Before I just became employed again for myself because I was working at a startup out of California, and it closed down. So I found myself in this position where I'm sort of reinventing my role in the way that I was doing consulting before, because I've had this company for about 14 years or something. I knew Nate from earlier, from like AIM and the Startup Collaborative and stuff back in that period of time. And I'm interested in, well, I've done some Tableau work, I've done some data visualization stuff, but mostly from the product design side. So I don't have like a lot of deep data training or knowledge. I have used Tableau a little bit. I hope to, I hope to fill in the gaps that I am missing, because I have a lot. I've been a developer for a long time also, but I mostly do front end stuff, a little bit of back end, but now with AI and Cursor, I'm able to write a lot more code. And so I just think there's a lot of doors that this class can open and little tiny things that I'm missing that could be helpful. It's like, I think I understand a lot of the pre-intensive processing. So like some of the concepts behind data, but also some of the practical stuff I'm pretty sure you'll be able to help with.
Very cool.
Superpower, I don't know. Yours is good. I also like the idea of freezing time and controlling.
I have to admit, I have a fear of product designers when it comes to data viz, because every time I share it, I feel like, and this is just Builder specifically, so I won't put it on you, but I always get feedback like, oh, why'd you use that color? Like the eyesight doesn't necessarily follow the dashboard the right way. So I feel inadequate.
UX heavy. I downplay design, like the visual parts of design. I really care about how things work, and so
perfect.
I think we'll be okay.
We actually have a design specific course. I think it's night 3 or night 4, where we go through some real basic product design principles, because a lot of it can be applied to data visits as well too. So I may ask you to co-lecture with me that night.
Yeah.
My name is DeForest. Currently, right now, I work for myself. I'm a musician, so I do a lot of drumming. I have a music studio, and I also have a startup that's going to be me on the R. It's going to be, our product's going to be coming out in like 15 days.
Oh, wow.
Why Omaha Data Science Academy? I feel like the future is is like this part of the language, coding, data analyst, and all that. It's like learning English. That's the way I see it. Like in the future, like our kids are gonna grow up in school knowing code, and then there's gonna be like this gap in between generations. So that's like my big why. And then I don't have any experience in Tableau, and I hope to learn how to use all of Tableau in this class. And I also hope to learn the basics and fundamentals of learning coding languages because I've tried by myself. But as with anything, when you first enter the door, you think you need to learn, and as you start learning, you realize like there's this spider web of information that you'll never overcome. And then if I could have any superpower, I think it would be to like make dreams come true. Like if someone has like a dream or something like that,
Love that.
and then I can like manifest it.
Like you'd be the genie in the bottle almost.
Yeah.
What's the name of your product that's coming out?
It's called My Personal Agent.
Okay.
Yeah. It's basically going to be what a personal agent is to independent music artists, but in the form of an app. So
That's awesome.
Get like public engagements and book shows, sell merchandise, regional fans, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, sweet. And we're 15 days out from the launch. There you go. I'll have Nate up his snack game in 15 days and get some champagne in here and stuff and celebrate.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
My name is Jonathan. I am currently a freelance journalist. I cover arts and culture for a few local and national publications. Someone recommended ODSA to me, so I thought I could apply and went in and it's kind of why I'm here. I have a bit of Tableau experience. I had a data entry job about 2 years ago when someone taught me about data visualization. I created a dashboard once, but only one dashboard, so not really anything in Tableau. And really, what I hope to get from all the courses is really to gain the skills of a data analyst, hopefully on a position in this field. If you have any
Invisibility? Heck yeah. Love it. Right here.
Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Krista Mukana. I'm currently working at Space, and I learned about this place through Crystal. She used to be my boss, and before she transitioned here, we used to talk about how we want data and how we wanted to become a data scientist. So she told me about this semester and to apply. And I've been exposed to Tableau before, not doing much inside of it, but I have an idea what it looks like and what I hope to get from this class. Just to learn everything that class has to offer. And superpower, I recently watched a documentary on octopuses, whether they're plural, and I was just fascinated in how their brains work. They can camouflage, they can change skin, grow limbs, and I was like, wow, I wish I could do that
Yeah.
for myself. So I guess becoming an octopus.
I love it. Awesome. All right, for the remote folks, I'm just going to work my way down the list as it pops up here. So, Alec, if you don't mind going first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, my name is Alec. I'm born and raised in Chicago. That's where I'm at right now. I work for a distribution company called La Preferida, deals with beans. I'm basically a security guard. Omaha. What's up?
Sorry, my computer froze there for a second. Yep, we got you.
Okay. Omaha because I recently graduated and I can't find a job to save my life. So one of my buddies from high school actually graduated he got a certificate here. His name is John Kong. He told me about it. He's like, do you want to go back to school? I'm like, dude, like, I can't find a job to save my life. And all I see is data science and data analyst. And I have no qualifications, so I'm down. So that's why I started here. As far as Tableau, as of Friday, I've never heard about it. So I'm willing to learn. And what what do I hope to get out of this class? I'm gonna be honest, man, a damn job, you know. That's basically it. I want to learn as much as I can so I can be qualified for any job that comes my way. You know, for me, for my kids, and just hit the ground running. I may not be the smartest guy, but I know how to stay up and keep reading and keep reading. And as far as superpower, maybe the ability to heal people or the speed force. I think like going super fast and is super underrated. And just I don't know, like if I see some kids that are sick, like it hurts. So I wish I could just heal people. That'd be a superpower I'd want.
Love that. Absolutely. Appreciate that. Kobe?
Hey, I'm Kobe. I currently work for a company called Spin Linen, doing deliveries right now, delivery driver. Why ODSA? I actually learned about it from Marcus, who's in this class as well. So looked into it a little bit and thought sounded very interested, something I'd enjoy doing. So here I am. I don't have any Tableau experience. I have very minimal experience in Power BI from a previous job, but nothing too in depth. What I want to get out of this, really as much as possible, learn as much as I can. Yeah, and then superpower, I think I'm going to go simple, just the ability to fly. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Yarlene, appreciate you putting that pronunciation, and I apologize for butchering that earlier. Right when you saw that, I'm like, man, I did a horrible job at attempting that, so apologies.
No worries. I usually put my pronunciation, but I forgot in a moment. So my name is Yarlene. I currently work as a career coach at Metro in the workforce innovation division. Um, I feel like I do similar things here. But anyway, so why ODSA? My sister-in-law actually took this course, and her name is Anna. Um, how I don't have any experience with Tableau. Like today was the first day that I even read that, but I did notice the logo had Salesforce under it, and I do use Salesforce for my job. Um, I hope to learn a lot of things about data analysis. Like I've heard a lot about it like on TikTok and stuff. So I just want to know what it is, and also I just want to be like a bigger asset to my team. And if I could have a superpower, it would be to understand, to be able to understand and speak any language.
I love that idea. Would you count like animal languages in that? Because I constantly want to know what Tebow's saying to me.
Yes. I want to know what my cat thinks about me.
Oh, do you though? I feel like some cats every cat I've ever had, I feel like hated me.
I want to know though.
Love it. All right, Josh.
All right, I'm Josh Todd. I'm actually from Southern Indiana here. I work for a company called Codify Works. We provide a subscription service to John Deere dealers across the United States, Canada, and Australia. That's actually how I learned about this, and why I'm taking this class is we deal with a lot of data, and I actually use Nate and his guys to analyze a lot of that data from time to time. So just being able to do that internally is part of the reason for this, but also kind of a numbers geek when it comes to some stuff, so it's interesting on a personal level as well. I haven't ever used Tableau, like someone else said. Didn't really hear about it till the email came out here a week or two ago. But as far as what to get out of this class, just learn stuff to help my company and better myself in the future. Superhero power, not much of a superhero guy, but I like the idea of flying.
Love it. Real quick, I'm going to drop this stuff in the chat here, under the comments section, if you guys want to reference that. And I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen. I should have done this a while ago. and drag it over here so that people in person can see who's talking and not just hear it come out of a black box up here. So appreciate that, Josh. Xavier?
What's up, everybody? My name is Xavier. I'm from Omaha. Let's see. Okay. So I run this organization called the Local Art Plug, and we connect local artists with business.
I cannot hear you, Xavier. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Oh, hello.
We're all good now.
Dope. Yep, my name is Xavier. Great to meet everybody. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I run an organization called the Local Art Plug. We connect artists with businesses, and we're always looking for the next way to connect art and technology. But I've always been fascinated with data science, so super excited that this was available and be able to be a part of this. I also work at an organization called the Bay as a youth program coordinator. So I work with kids and adults and all that good stuff in the community. Why data? Because again, I think it's cool. I think it's the future, and I'd love to just have my options open if I ever did need to go back into the career field. Want to do most. I'm really excited to learn about just business intelligence, machine learning. I know a little bit about Python, nothing about Tableau. And then if I could have a superpower, I would love to teleport. I think it was in one of the X-Men when Nightcrawler was just like disappearing and jumping all over the screen. So I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. And Goku could teleport. So I was like, okay, that's like the ultimate offense and defense. So that's the one I would go for. And I think that was everything. Thank you, everybody.
I think we lost, I think it's my Wi-Fi. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, the elevator guest Wi-Fi is not doing great right now, so I'll bring an Ethernet cord next week. But appreciate that, Xavier. Patrick?
I am Patrick McCarville. I'm in Papillion, Nebraska, and I'm recently unemployed. I previously worked for a startup company. And then when we got to the point where everything was golden and making money, a bunch of surprise layoffs. So that was fun. Honestly, I've never used Tableau or any of the programs mentioned. I'm very accustomed to, I like to call it brute forcing whatever I need to do. I've gone to Canva, I've gone to MS Paint, I make whatever graphics I need to. I'll draw it out in a piece of paper for a presentation. But I've kind of been a freelance data scientist for any little random business or, just startup or small company. Now looking at everything, I realize that I'm the cheap guy that everybody hires because they can't afford the people who have the certificates and everything. So what do I hope to get from this class? Education seems to be what I need to, not be just the village helper. I just started at Metro, and then I got this on top of it, and I got a huge work history and no formal education to back it up. And so I hope I learned something. I hope that's the whole thing. Is I'm really curious to see what I've learned from work and the difference of it in a classroom. And for the superpower, I've been thinking it the whole time. I have to agree with Xavier. Teleportation. Just think of how that would completely redesign our logistical infrastructure if we had more teleportation in the world. Shipping fees, nope, poop, it's at your house. Amazon Prime, 30-second delivery. Revolutionize the world.
Wow, I don't know what that says about me, but my brain immediately went to bank heists and hopping in and out and to solving logistical issues. So you're a better person than I am, but appreciate that, Patrick. Ali?
Hi everyone, my name is Ali Mohammed. I'm originally from Kenya, but my family is from Somalia. I've lived in Omaha for almost 10 years right now. Graduated from UNO in 2020 December with a bachelor's in mathematics, and then shifted to pursue entrepreneurial journey. I've been working as a fleet manager for GXP for almost 3 years, and I've been having several businesses on the side. Lately, I've been unemployed for a while, but I've been having my own, starting my own home care business for adults, Regal Home Care Services. So I'm working on that, but nothing running yet. Hopefully, I will have that going on while I enhance my skills here. I'm happy to be here. I'm hoping to learn everything I can in this class and also in the coming following classes. I don't have any experience with Tableau, but I do have experience in R and a little bit of Python. And any superpowers, maybe I'll say to learn everything instantly.
Ooh, there you go. Then you can have to listen to me for 8 classes, and you could just like get your cert now and be good to go.
Yep.
I like that one. All right, last one, Marcus.
Sorry about that. I was muted. My name is Marcus Ethan. I'm from Omaha as well. I currently work at a company called Triage Staffing. I'm a senior recruiter there. We do healthcare staffing. Before we did a reorganization about a month and a half ago, I was also a team lead for a few years. My wife actually used to work at Builder Trend a while back as well, so I'm familiar with that company too. How did I hear of ODSA? I actually married into the family with Native, if you will. So bear with me here. My wife's aunt's, so Nate's my wife's aunt's brother-in-law, if you will. So seen him at a lot of family events. We've talked about data science. It's something I've always been interested in. I like to think I kind of go towards analytical side of thinking with problems and things along those lines. I don't have any Tableau experience, but I've done a lot of research in this field. I got some Python experience and try to be as, it's something I've been thinking about for years. So kind of been planning it out and finally made sense and good opportunity for me to jump into a class. I'm looking to make a complete career change, kind of get out of staffing and move into a data science role. So I'm going to be taking all the classes to get the fundamentals of data science certification through ODSA. So hopefully I can move into data analyst, data science role, when I'm all done with that. And in terms of a superpower, this is not a superpower, but I would definitely just take being Superman. I mean, he's got about everything minus kryptonite, so I just do that.
Love that. Good, easy answer. Just say kind of the best of everything. Call it one.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Perfect. Did I miss anyone? I moved my screen so my order got all rearranged. Anyone not go? Cool. We'll get ready for our first break here, but I just wanted to kind of wrap up that section with saying, like, it's awesome to have you all, and we have so many different backgrounds here. I'm very, very excited for it. I'll talk about this a little bit when we get to the homework section, but one of the things that I ask you to do with that is to go and find your own data set and work with data that you're passionate about. Like, all of my examples are going to be very builder trendy, and it's stuff that I care about, but it's not stuff that everyone else cares about. So feel free to lean into your passions and your past experience and things that you care about and make this class your own, because data is data no matter what it's data about. Like I mentioned, of all the people I interviewed, there's so many times people are like, builder trends are construction business. I've never worked. I don't know anything about construction. It's like, hey, guess what? Neither did I. But a 1 is a 1 and a 0 is 0 at the end of the day. And that's all that really matters. Maybe not the coolest, but the most memorable person I ever interviewed actually worked at the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo. And apparently we have like a world-renowned lemur expert at the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo. And he's like, all I've done is work with lemur data for the past 10 years. Like, how is that going to apply? I'm like, oh, you've worked with data for 10 years. That's all I heard. So please embrace the passions and backgrounds that you guys have. It'll make the class much more enjoyable for everyone else too, for not just seeing the same examples over and over and over again. So make it your own. And the last thing I'd say is, like, this group and your guys' background and the things that you said about your work ethic and how you hope to learn, those are the exact type of people that I would want to hire to come and work at Builder Trend. I didn't have any Tableau experience before I went there. People always brought that up in interviews. They didn't have Tableau experience. It doesn't matter at all. Like if you can learn something and a certificate is a great way to prove that you can learn anything. So I think this is a great class. I appreciate you guys all very much for spending 3 hours a night, 2 nights a week for the next 4 weeks with me. I hope to make it as enjoyable and impactful as possible. And we'll take on this journey together. So let's plan on coming back here at 7:10, 7:12. We'll do a full 10 minutes here. So people at home, feel free to get up, stretch, walk around. If you hear me talking in the background, don't worry about it. We will officially start at 7:12. For people in person, if you guys want, I'll take a quick trek up to where the bathroom's at because it is kind of hard to find. But if you don't need to go to the bathroom, you don't need to follow me to the bathroom. It comes off really creepy. So sweet. I will see you guys back here in 10 minutes. All right, and then there's a little banner thing I can do. Break time, please come back at 7:12. Central time. There we go. It's building an absolute labyrinth. I got lost a million times in here, so I can tell when Nate was talking. Yeah.
So you said you're a journalist?
I am, yeah.
Do you, what publications are you independent?
Pretty much. So I actually just left the job. I was technically, I guess, an analyst. I literally had nothing to do all day. So I just thought I couldn't do this anymore. So I've been doing freelance journalism for about almost 6 years now. I write for Flatwater Free Press. I used to write for your Omaha Magazine for time to time. For the local ones, and a few national ones that are hard since I started a series that's on my interest. Actually, if you know Flatwater, it's actually in this building. So I've been in this building before. Yeah, so that's good.
I know some of the Flatwater Free Press people a little bit. Good. And I said jars, so really. And I helped start Cali Commons, which is our space in California. I don't run the name, but I live above it. So the arts are really important to me.
So did you study studio art or industry?
I study art. Kind of like, actually studied kind of broad set of things. I really wanted to make my own major. And I didn't end up doing that, but I pretty much did. So I heavy studio art and art history, and then like some communication design and business. So I really was interested in design and some other communication adjacent things. Video work. That were sort of segmented in a weird way, at least in the 90s. That's kind of how it started. And business stuff was just my parents went to go to school, and so I just did some practical stuff was my gateway. But also, I found it to be incredibly interesting and sort of easy. I remember being in quantum methods and all these like business people were like, "This class sucks." I'm like, "This is cool. Let's eliminate STEM." I was like, well, maybe I should actually hang out here for a while. Now I feel like I'm not a troublemaker. I care more about making impactful things than money. I haven't always done a very good job of making money. I think enough to like make things around. Grow into giant things. I don't even know if that's possible. That's what you're doing.
I mean, I only worked in nonprofits. So I graduated in 2020. Three different nonprofits. You know, you take nonprofits to do very good work generally, but they're just businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even that well run.
Yeah. Not well. Yeah. So you make that transition. Also, I'm tired of working nonprofits.
Also, we look at your exciting.
Yeah. We have meet with the developers here real soon. I actually started in March, so not necessarily that long. Relatively to, I guess, visual recording and like this type of stuff. I like this divine inspired there. So, like so March, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to like learn kind of my own thing. He's like, yeah, all these low code stuff, choose it. That was like not working out as well at all. So then came across some people at the what they call it, everyone's yeah. They're like, yeah, we're doing like this grant, start your business and stuff. Okay, cool. I'll try. And usually that stuff just doesn't work out at all. But it actually like, well, I applied and then like for a month and a half, 2 months, I got no emails, no follow-up calls, no anything. And then I was like, I'm gonna go try to figure out what's going on. And I was making phone calls, not hearing anything. And so I just so happened to go to the Omaha Women's Business Association on the day that they were opening for meet with the grant writer. So everything, and they said, oh yeah, I had you on the schedule to start like in July. So I ended up getting all that stuff done in April or May, so just spread everything out. And then I had a really trouble running with these developers on Fiverr. They took my money and then just delivered me like an 50K file that didn't work. So, but that was like my training. So now I know how to vet and hire developers and designers and all that stuff. So I ended up hiring this design team out of somewhere over there. And so like it's weird because like I'm managing like a whole team of employees, but like they're killing it. You know, so I went through the interview process, and then they're gonna be delivering right after 2 days. And then this course, this is what I'm saying. Like everything is weird. So I was in a startup group. And in the startup group, they were saying, well, we need you to go out and gather data and make sales. But it just felt like I'm designing an app that does what a personal agent does. Why would I go become a personal agent? Like that's just like, you know what I mean? Like it's totally inefficient. That's like walking backwards with my eyes closed. So now this class is like giving me the opportunity to actually innovate. You know, my idea, and then display it and also get credentials all at the same time. So yeah, just moving in the right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. All right, we'll get going here. So, yeah, help yourself to any and all snacks. Let me share my screen again. Cool. So this will be kind of typically where we pick up the storytelling at the beginning of class like normal. Then we'll dive into the overview. Overview is really just kind of meant to set the stage for what we're going to be learning about tonight. So again, since it's night one, it's going to be pretty high level stuff. This shouldn't take too long. Then we'll actually get into Tableau. Do you guys have it downloaded already?
That's on the website.
If not, we'll go through it all together because we'll just make sure we're all working on the same thing. And we'll do kind of the hands-on section after this. The good news is the homework is pretty much just the hands-on section tonight. So we should be done in the next, I don't want to make promises. We should be done early. All right, so overview for tonight, Tableau Fundamentals. So really just meant to understand what the interface looks like, how you drag and drop different things. We'll be annoyingly persistent on terminology and vocabulary, just so that for the rest of the course, we're all using the same words and we all know what each other are talking about. And then we'll actually connect some data to Tableau, create a data source, work within those data sources, and join those up into one kind of curated data set moving forward. So it should be pretty straightforward for the first half and then pretty fun for the second half to actually start building some stuff. I'll breeze through the overview because we covered a lot of it just organically through our intros and with Nate and stuff. But why data viz? It doesn't really matter what level you're at in the company or what you're doing. There's always an opportunity to get better with data viz. So this is just an example from Builder Trend on our sales team. So our BDR, those are just our sales reps. When they log into Salesforce, I think someone mentioned, you used Salesforce before? Someone mentioned they'd used Salesforce before. Salesforce actually just acquired Tableau probably about 4 years ago. And Salesforce is just a CRM. And so anytime you log into Salesforce, there are embedded dashboards in there now that show you like who this customer is to better equip you to have conversations with them. If you're a team lead, you could be wondering who has the highest close rate across the entire team. There's dashboards that we build at Builder Trend all the time that shows how each rep is performing so that team leads can adequately manage them. For sales directors, they may be wondering which of their teams are performing the best to understand what they're doing differently and coach up other teams. A VP of sales could wonder which regions are performing the best. Where do we need to put different resources? Where do we need to maybe lower prices if different housing markets are going up or down? All of these things are built inside of Tableau. Literally at Builder Trend, these are real world examples. It's funny, Nate, last week he called me, he's like, really just try to stress, like, use real world examples. I really want to hammer home this learn from 6 to 9, what someone does from 8 to 5. And I'm like, Nate, I'm not creative enough to come up with examples that aren't real world. So everything that we talk through is going to be literally what I did today. And then even our CEO looks at the dashboard every single day, just showing how many different customers are signed up. So no matter what role you're in, or who you're working for, what you're doing, in some sense, you'll be using data visualizations to ask questions, to answer questions, to analyze, and ultimately predict. So that's kind of why data viz, why data. This is my favorite quote of all time. Jay-Z, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I don't think he was talking about data science, but he should have been. Data viz is really the gateway drug to a data-driven organization. So if you don't have data, people always think that like data is the answer to questions, but really it's a way to surface what questions you should have. It allows you to validate assumptions, measure success, answer questions, and most importantly, ask questions. So a lot of what we do at BT and really in the broader data science landscape is just surface interesting things that we're seeing and allow people to ask questions to validate assumptions around why we're seeing those things, and then ask more questions, and then you provide more data, and it just kind of snowballs. And that's what a data-driven organization is. It isn't ask a question, answer with data. It's show data, ask a million questions, show a million more answers to that, ask a million more questions. And this ultimately what's going to drive any organization, regardless of what vertical you're in, to being data-driven. And then lastly, why Tableau? So when I first started, I used to refer to us as what I would call a full stack data scientist, which is really just working from kind of A to Z in the data science spectrum. Slowly and surely, as we hired more people and matured, we allowed to specialize a little bit more. So the three specializations that you have here is kind of like data engineering, and Nate talked about this a little bit as well too. They're the people who are going to be pulling data from different tools, from different sources, making sure it's all clean and pretty, and in a curated data warehouse or data lake, whatever you want to call it, for people to use. Then you have the data analysts that are actually going in, working with the data, answering questions, building Tableau vizes, finding trends, forecasting stuff out. And then you have the data scientists that ultimately go in and build models, build predictive capabilities, build machine learning models, AI, stuff like that. What's cool about Tableau and why we chose it for this course specifically is you kind of dip your toes into all three of those buckets in a really, really simple drag and drop manner. So even tonight, one of the first concepts that we're going to cover is really a data engineering concept. And then the second thing we'll cover is a data analyst concept. And then later on in this course, we'll start covering data scientist stuff. So it's teaching you these kind of core skills and traits in a drag and drop, very user-friendly manner. So when you guys get to the data engineering courses and the data scientist courses, you'll already be familiar with a lot of these concepts and have a really good understanding of how they function and why they function that way and how they work, without having to know kind of the technical capabilities of coding them out yourself and building them from scratch, because Tableau is just completely plug and play. So I think Nate does a really good job of putting this course first, because the stuff that you learned tonight is going to be built on top of for the remainder of your time at Omaha Data Science Academy. So we use Tableau Public. There are a few different versions of Tableau. At Billertrend, we use what's called Tableau Server, which is just a fancy way of saying we host our own server. Everything that people see, they can only see using Billertrend's IP address. So it's just internal data for us. Tableau Public, the main reason we're using it is it's free. So anybody can go in and download a Tableau Public license, which is what we'll do here in a bit. This is what we'll be using moving forward. I want to call out a couple things. Pros, you will have your own Tableau Public portfolio at the end of this course. So let me just share my screen over here. So this is what Tableau Public looks like. If I go to my profile, mine is not a very pretty portfolio because it's essentially just 4 years of me uploading class examples to this. But another thing from when I was hiring, anytime someone applied on their resume, they had a Tableau Public link, that was an instant interview. I was like, okay, they know what they're talking about, they know what they're doing. When you complete this course, 4 weeks, 8 classes from now, you will have 8 different examples in your Tableau Public portfolio from the homework assignments that we've done here. So this is just going to completely just catapult your Tableau portfolio, and anyone can go and see it. You can follow different people, you can favorite different things. It's really, really cool, and it's just going to be a good starting spot for your continued career inside of data science and inside of data visualization. There are some sweet, like here are my ugly charts that I built before, but if you go to Tableau Public, there are some really, really cool data vises that people are building out there. So you can go and look at some of these different things, find things that you're interested about, find things that you think look cool, try to recreate them. It's a really, really interactive community, and Tableau Public is a great way to facilitate that. Now, that being said, the downside of Tableau Public is it's public. So I need to stress this once, and I'll stress it a million more times. Do not use your company's data unless you want everyone looking at it, because there's no way to lock. There are ways, but there's, for my own sanity, there are no ways to lock it down to just you. If you want to do data viz on your own data, feel free to get like a free trial of Tableau Desktop or something like that, where you save it locally. But the only way to save Tableau Public dashboards is up in the cloud where everyone can access it. And I do not want your guys' company suing me for breach of data. So good news, it's public. Bad news, it's public. And then 99.9% of the examples I will use in class is from a data set called the Superstore data set. This is kind of like the hello world of the Tableau community. It's a data set that they publish for free. It's all fake data, but it has like every type of data in a million different columns and a million different rows. And so it's like the perfect example data set. If you just search Superstore on Tableau Public, there are literally thousands of different results of people using this data set. It's just really, really nice to have one consistent data set when learning Tableau, so you can talk to other people and reference the same fields, reference the same columns, see the vises they built and be able to recreate them because you have all the same data that they have. It's just kind of a really, really simple sample data set that everyone uses. So we will use it for our in-class examples. However, like I mentioned when we were doing our intros there, for individual assignments, I will link out 4 or 5 different spots where you can find other data sets. Tableau Public is great, Data World is great, Google Datasets is great. It's boring looking at sales data over and over and over again. So in order for you guys to stay, engaged with this course and have fun building these data sets, because at the end of the day, this should be really, really fun, I would highly encourage you guys to spend a little bit of time outside of class and find something that you're a little bit more passionate about, as opposed to like t-shirt sales, which is what this Superstore data is mainly looking at. So that's what we'll use for in-class examples, but please feel free to find your own.
What were the other sources you mentioned?
Yeah, I have them linked at the end here, I think. Yeah, so Tableau Public, and I'll go through this in a bit here, but in Tableau Public at the top, there's some great videos, community resources, a blog. If you click on sample data, there's a lot. There's business, entertainment, sports, public data, education, government, science, lifestyle, technology, health, all published here on Tableau. And then at the very end, they have other publicly available data sources. So data.world is the one that I've used before. Kaggle is another great one I've used before. Believe it or not, but Reddit actually has a great data sets thread where people publish stuff out too. So there's a few. Or you can even just Google, I think it's called Google Dataset search, yeah. So if you go here, like I'm a huge college football fan, you can just search college football and it works just like Google. Most watch college football kickoff games. You can go out here and download it and do whatever you want. So there's a few different things. And again, all those are linked in the PowerPoint. At the end of the class, I'll send out the PowerPoint, the recording, and my Tableau Public link as well too. So you guys will have everything that we cover in here. All right. Tableau Public, Superstore, yeah, Data World is another one that I use a ton. But again, that's linked down at the bottom of the Tableau Public link there. We already took our break, so we're good to go. All right. So the goal of tonight, again, I don't know how many times I can say the goal of tonight. Familiarize everyone with the layout and UI of Tableau. ensure we're all using the same vocabulary and vernacular just to make sure that we're all talking about the same thing throughout the remainder of the course. While this is a data viz course, not a Tableau course, we will have to learn the basics of Tableau in order to obviously build stuff in there. A lot of people ask me, even Nate this year, every year, he asks me if he wants to switch this class from being a Tableau course to, or using Tableau to using a different BI tool. Tableau was the first to market about 20 years ago and the industry leader, and pretty much every other BI tool has followed their lead. So a few of you mentioned that you use Power BI. It looks almost identical. Google has Google Looker, same thing, super similar. We actually use another tool at Buildertrend on top of Tableau for external reports called Domo. We actually may do a specific night just on Domo, just so you can see what I'm talking about. They're all the same. Once you know Tableau, I promise you, you can figure everything else out very, very quickly. And then lastly, a final apology. This will not be a PowerPoint course. This will be a data viz course. I will show data viz. We'll do data viz together. Just night one is boring, always. All right, so Tableau overview. Let's actually pause real quick. And in the sake of it being a tab or a data viz course, not a PowerPoint course, I know a lot of you guys have it downloaded, some of you guys don't. Let's spend a quick 5 minutes making sure everyone has it downloaded. If you do already, feel free to tune out for the next 5 minutes. But for those of you that don't, feel free to follow along here. So first thing you do is Google Tableau Public. If you do not have an account, there's probably like let me just sign out. There's probably a sign up for Tableau Public link that you'll have to follow. First name, last name, email, password, confirm, create your account. That's all it takes. I'll pause for a quick 10 to 15 seconds if anyone needs to do that. From there, I mean, we've all signed into stuff before. You go ahead and sign in. I'm now signed in. What you'll want to do is go up to the top left where it says Create and click Download Tableau Public Desktop Edition. From there, it's super straightforward. You download the app, you click Agree to Terms and Conditions, blah, 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 and then you should be good to go. If you guys are not able to get it tonight, no worries. Just Slack me on the side and let me know, and we can work on the side to make sure that everyone's caught up there. It is not required for tonight, don't worry about it. But if you do, it's a lot more fun, in my opinion, to follow along side by side with me as opposed to just watch my screen. So feel free to do that. I am going to close out of this and start from scratch. So if you guys do have Tableau Public downloaded, or if you're working to get it downloaded, I promise I'll go slow. We'll kind of work side by side. When you open it up for the first time, I'm going to pin mine. It will look exactly like this, except that you guys will not have, this is something I created right before class because I updated my version and wanted to make sure everything worked the same. Really, really basic landing page. On the left, you'll have a connection option. This will be what type of data you're connecting to. So 99% of times in this class, we'll just connect to a Microsoft Excel. If you have the desktop version, actually show mine. This is what we use at Buildertrend. You have literally hundreds of different options. So you go to more here. These are all the different things that you can, these are essentially just different databases, different tools, different CRMs that Tableau can connect directly to your data for you. We don't have to worry about any of that. We will just be connecting to Microsoft Excel. Sometimes a text file, but pretty much always these two. So once you do that, you guys don't need to worry about following along. Just, you can if you want. I'm going to upload our Tableau Superstore data. So again, that's really, let me go back here. As easy as it is, you click Microsoft Excel, you click the data set that you want to connect to, and then you're in there. So let's pause again, give everyone, if they're downloading Tableau, a chance to catch up here. If you do already have it downloaded, go out to Tableau Public again, and instead of going under Create, where we went to download, let's go under Learn and click Sample Data. It should pull this up, and then Superstore is the very, very first data set there. So just go ahead and click that, and it should start downloading for you. That's what we'll use again for 90% of our examples here. Just wait a couple moments.
Sorry, yeah, mine should be done here in just a second downloading. Do you mind running through that once it is?
Yep,
Just there's less than a minute left, so hopefully it'll be done here in just a sec.
Totally fine. I'm actually going to close out and start from scratch again because even the people that did have it downloaded didn't have the data set downloaded.
Is it possible to kill like half-lights in here?
Yeah. It is not only possible, very easy. Which ones? A or B? B? That makes that pop a lot better. Good call. Yep. All right. And actually, a couple different people have messaged me that they're not able to download, so do not worry about it. Do not feel left out if you can't get it. Again, this was meant to be a PowerPoint night anyways, so no worries about following along. Okay, so for those of you that do have it, go ahead and open it up. Click Connect to a File, click Microsoft Excel, and then click on that Superstore data set that you just uploaded, or just downloaded, sorry. All right, so this Tableau at the end of the day can really just be broken down into two main UIs. You have at the very bottom here, see how it says data source? This will be the first UI that we work with and the one we'll work with the least. Very, very straightforward. In your Superstore data set over here, you can see, let me actually open that up so you guys can see what the actual data set looks like. So if I opened up this Excel, this is what the Superstore data looks like. You have row number, you have ID, the data is ordered, the data is shipped, shipping mode, so on and so forth. Everything you could ever want about these different orders. Then you have three sheets: orders, returns. This is just a list of all the IDs that were returned. And then the third sheet is kind of confusing. This is just the people that are in charge of each region, fake names. You can see that Anna is in charge of the West region, Chuck is in charge of the East, Kelly Central, and Cassandra South. You don't need to worry about those. This will be our three data sets that we work with, and we'll work with orders the most. So for the sake of that, all you need to do to get up and running with Tableau is take orders and drag it over here. Now you can see that we have orders in here. It gives you a brief overview or preview of what that looks like, exactly like it was in Excel. In here, it will tell you some different information about the data that you're working with, what the field name is called, which table it's in, which is just a fancy way of saying which sheet it was in Excel. And then if there were different remote fields that we had joined up, we won't touch on those during this course. But this is the first section of Tableau, which is just the data source section. The other 90% of the time is going to be the data viz section. So if we click go to worksheet here, this will be the UI that we spend the rest of the class kind of familiarizing ourselves with, because the data source section is really, really easy. You open it up, you drag something in there, then you're off to the races. Let me pause for a second. Anyone still working to get anything downloaded or have questions about kind of where we are at so far?
Yes, but I don't think I'll be able to catch up, so you're good to keep going.
All right, we'll pause here in a bit too for our next break, and we can get you caught up. But again, you don't need to follow along for this section anyways. What's yours?
I have,
I have a-
but I just don't know, like where you found the data from.
Oh yeah, the Superstore data. Yeah, so if you go up to Tableau Public and then click on under Learn, there's a sample data section. And then it's the very first one here, you just click there. Alex, did you have a question? Or I saw you maybe raise your hand.
Yeah, do I need a better laptop? Because I tried to download it and it just froze my whole thing, so I had to close out and come back in.
Sorry guys, I really apologize for the Wi-Fi. It was not this bad last time I taught. I will make sure to bring an Ethernet cord next week. Did someone have a question? I thought I heard someone.
Yeah, what kind of a laptop? Because I have a Microsoft Pro and I tried to download Tableau and it just froze it completely. So I had to restart and come back in.
Okay, sorry, my computer dropped again. Alec, I did hear you there at the very beginning, but I lost you.
He's wondering if, like, perhaps there are minimum requirements for his system because his laptop might be having a hard time running Tableau.
That I do not know. There are, in the download, there's system requirements listed here. That would have the kind of Windows or Mac operating systems that you need. Let's see, there's some Tableau Public. Yeah, this is all I would know here, is just what they have listed. We can definitely catch up towards the end of this as well too, if anyone else is still having issues there. Yeah, someone else mentioned that they need IT to download it too. Totally fine as well. So, were you able to get that data set downloaded? Yeah. Cool. All right. So the rest of this class here, we're really just going to kind of cover this specific page right here and the different layout. I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint to the side just to make sure I'm hitting everything I need to. We covered the data section or the data source. And then each sheet that you make in Tableau is just a fancy way of saying each visual you make in Tableau. If you want to add another sheet, it's this button right here, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, so on and so forth. You can make as many as you want, but when I say sheet, really what I'm referring to is just an individual visualization. You can make one viz per sheet, and then you can combine them together, but we'll cover that later. Now, dimensions and measures are another kind of important vocabulary term. A dimension in Excel terms would be a column. So what is, or I guess, sorry, not a column, like a category. So what can things be grouped by? You can group things by categories, you can group things by cities, you can group things by countries. Every data point we have will either be a dimension, which is on the top here, or a measure. A measure is pretty straightforward. It's what are things that you can measure. You can measure how many discounts you can offer. You can measure how many profits you offer. You can measure the quantity or the sales or something. So why that's important, you group by dimensions, you measure by measures. When you build a chart, we'll just put all over like country real quick. Oh, they only have US. We'll pull over category real quick, and we'll pull over sales. So the dimension, what we're grouping by is category here. What we're measuring by or what we're showing here in Tableau is sales. So when I refer to dimensions, dimensions are on the top, measures are on the bottom. That's a really, really condensed, easy way. There's a lot of nuances with that, but for the most part, that will be kind of how we talk in this class here. Dimensions, what are we grouping by? Measures, what are we measuring? The next super straightforward one is just columns versus rows. Everyone should be familiar with that, but in Tableau, there's basically two different buckets you can drop things into. Rows are just what you want along the kind of x-axis here, versus columns would be what you want to measure different things by from the different columns. So you can swap those out if you wanted this to be, you wanted different columns of your different categories, you can do that. Or if you wanted rows by your different categories, you can do that. But again, it's pretty straightforward. They're labeled right here. If you want stuff going this way, group them in your different rows. If you want stuff going up and down, group them by your different categories, or sorry, your different columns. Show me is kind of the next section here. This will be our best friend in this class. So with the show me, I still use it constantly. It basically shows me every type of visualization you can build with the dimensions and measures that you have on your pane right here. So right now you can see I have category dragged up here and I have sales. So it's showing me I can build a horizontal bar. It's showing me I can build a stacked bar. It's showing me I can build a pie chart. And you can go through and click these different vises based on what you currently have in there without having to reorder or rearrange anything. As you can see, as I click into each one of these, my sum of sales pill in my category move around, right? Here my category is up in the rows. My sum of sales is down here. You guys can see my mouse, yeah. If I click into this one, now it's in the different sizes as opposed to the details. If I click into this one, now category is down here, sum is up there. This will all make sense as we get further on in the course. Again, today is just meant to get you understood and familiar with the layout of Tableau. So we covered the data sources, we covered the sheet, you got your dimensions, you got your measures, you got your columns, you got your rows, and you got the show me bucket. We're slowly and surely going to cover kind of each thing you see on the screen right here. No worries if this isn't making sense. This is just making sure that we're all using the same words moving forward. We will spend basically entire nights on each one of these different sections here. All right, then the second to last thing to cover is I mentioned different sheets before, right? So you can see I have one visualization on this sheet. Let's make it really easy. Let's keep it how we had it before. This is showing the total sales by each category. Say in my second sheet, I wanted to show the different shipping modes, profit by the different shipping modes. So we make a ton of profit on standard class, not as much profit on same day shipping, right? That kind of makes sense. Then in our third sheet, let's just do something like product name and quantity. So we can show this is how many different items. Here's all of our different products. This is how many quantity that were purchased there. So now I have 3 sheets showing 3 different things. Say I want to combine them all together. That's where a dashboard comes into place. So your 3 buttons here, you have new sheet, new dashboard, new story. Those are the kind of 3 different things you can create. We showed how to create sheets. In a dashboard, you can bring in multiple sheets. So you, again, drag and drop all 3 of these, try to make it halfway pretty. So now I have one dashboard with 3 sheets involved. And then the story is the very last thing, which you can bring multiple dashboards into. So I can bring a dashboard here, and then I can add a new story point. I can bring in my sheet here, new story point, sheet here. So now in my story, I'm showing not just different sheets, but different dashboards as well. So if I say sheet, 1 viz, if I say dashboard, multiple vizzes, and if I say story, multiple dashboards and sheets. We won't really create a whole lot of stories, but we'll create a ton of dashboards and sheets. All right, then the last section here is the marks pane. So again, just to recap, data source, this is where we pulled in our data. Sheet, this is where we actually build our viz. All of our different dimensions or things that we can group by are right here. All of our different measures or things that we can measure are right here. We pull stuff into the columns and rows to make our vizzes. If we don't know what viz we want to make, we can cheat and use the show me. We can build different sheets and different dashboards. The marks pane is kind of the last one here, and this is how we customize things. So say we don't want to make it blue, we want to make them black, or we want to make them purple, we can do that. Say we want to make them smaller or bigger, we do that. Say we want to actually label, we can drag this onto our label, and now we get labels that pop up here. Tooltip is when you hover over it here, it shows you technology, sales, different things like that. You can actually edit that. So maybe you don't want the labels in there, you just want it to be like this, where it says technology, that. So you can customize things a ton with the marks page here, and we'll get into a ton of detail moving forward here on how to make really, really beautiful data visualizations using the marks tab here. I lied. Filters. Filters, pretty straightforward, just like what it sounds. If you want to filter your data down or allow your end user to filter the data down, you can toss something on the filter. So say we want to add a filter for region. We want central, east, south, and west to start. That's just everything. Then we can click show filter. So now if someone wants to go in, they can say, well, I really just want to look at our west region. Here's how our different sum of sales by category look. I want to look at central, so on and so forth. So believe it or not, I think that was 8 different things. That's kind of the core 8 things that we will learn about in this class. We'll learn how to utilize all of those. We'll learn how to take advantage of them. But hopefully through that quick 15-minute kind of walkthrough that we did, you can see that Tableau is really meant to be user-friendly and drag and drop. I didn't have to write any lines of code. I didn't have to query any SQL, or I didn't have to query any databases. I didn't have to, build a JavaScript or CSS file to mess around with my colors. All we have to do is button click and know where to button click, and you can build really, really valuable databases. Any questions or specific areas that I missed that you want me to go back to? That was a lot of information, I know. A couple thumbs up. Okay. Let's do, I want to make the most of our time here. Do you guys need another break? Are you guys good to keep powering through and get out of here a little quicker? Okay. If you do need a break, just let me know. I do want to cover a brief kind of data engineering concept that we will use quite a bit in this course with different join types. So I mentioned this at the very beginning. We will scratch the surface in a ton of different categories in this course. A little bit of data science, a little bit of data analytics, a little bit of data engineering. The one really, really powerful concept that we will use a ton in this course is different join types. So you will probably spend 2 or 3 weeks on this in your data engineering course or SQL course, which I think is next. So it'd be doing a disservice to just brush past it, because there is a really, really simple way to do it inside of Tableau. So in our sheet here, our Superstore data, when I first pulled this up, right, we have 3 different sheets. We have orders, we have returns, and we have people. There are going to be times where we are going to want to join these together. And Tableau provides us the opportunity to join them together in a really, really simple manner. If you guys have used Excel before, you could do this using a VLOOKUP. If you guys use SQL, you'll use actual left join, right join, inner join, blah, blah, blah. Tableau, completely drag and drop. So let me show you what I mean here. If we go back to our data source button here at the bottom and double click into this, you can see right now, orders is made of one table. So all we're doing is looking at our orders sheet, which again has mostly everything we need, but there are a couple different things. Say we wanted to look at returns, right? We'd have to bring in this sheet. So you can see in returns, there's an order ID column and there's a return column, which is just yes for everything because this is just all returns. So we would want to bring in returns, which again is as simple as dragging and dropping. And then Tableau guesses, most of the time it's right, how you want to join them up. So in this one is pretty straightforward. There's an order ID on orders, and there is a order ID in returns. So what this is doing is it's joining up everything from our orders table or sheet and everything from our returns sheet as well. So now if you go look at your little data preview down here, you can see that there's two brand new columns, which is our order ID from returns and that returns. So now we have all the data from this sheet as well. However, this is the data engineering concept that's a little funky. In orders, you can see that we have close to 10,000 rows, 9,995 rows. In returns, we only have 297 rows. So if we join these up using what's called an inner join, it's going to make sure that everything that's in here has to also have an order ID in here as well too. So when we join these up, if we look in, we just build a sheet real quick to look at this. You see that we only have count of orders, 800 different orders now. Multiple orders are in there. Okay. So we're losing, before we brought returns in here, and it was just orders. If we looked at this sheet, we had the 9,000 different orders, right? So when we brought that in, it dropped down to 800. Well, what was going on there? We were making sure using an inner join that, again, it had to exist in both our order sheet and our return sheet. It was matching them up one-to-one. So if we had something in orders that wasn't returned, then all of a sudden we were dropping that off because it had nothing to join up against, if that makes sense. So there's a few different ways to get around this, and that's what's showing on this screen here. The out-of-the-box standard join is called an inner join. Return records that have matching values in both tables. Sometimes that's valuable. Sometimes we want to make sure that it exists in both tables to bring it in together. But if we did that in this specific use case, we'd be missing out on all the orders that weren't returned, right? So there's different variations of the join. There's a left join, a right join, and a full join. The left join is going to keep all the records from the table on the left and the matched records from the table on the right. So what that would look like, let's go back into Tableau. We can bring our returns back in here. You can see how this little visual here is exactly the one that I was showing right here, where only the intersecting records are matched there. In fact, if you hover, it even says inner join. We can change that to a left join. Now what that's going to do is it's going to keep every record from orders and bring in the ones that are in our returns data set. So now if we go back to our count, you can see that we still have 9,000 rows in there, but we also have our data points of the order ID and the returns from the return function. So we will use that sparingly in this course. Most of the time we will just bring in our orders table. But I just wanted to show, and this will make more sense when you take the SQL class. Joins are a bitch, and they're really, really hard to do. The fact that you can just drag and drop and click in Tableau makes it infinitely easier there. And the fact that you can all show up to your SQL class day one and say, oh, we already know all about inner joins and left joins, makes things a lot easier. If you wanted to do a right join, you can click into that, or you can just move the tables around and do left join. And then a full outer join would be if you have records that exist in one table and not the other, but you also have records that exist in one table, not the other. You'll join them all up. 99% of the time, we'll just use inner and left here. Any questions about joins? That makes sense, at least at a high level. You don't need to understand it comprehensively.
It makes sense at a high level. Yeah. I tried to follow along. I don't even have anything that's popping up saying join.
Okay, that's fine. I think what's kind of tricky here is it will give you just kind of one table as soon as you drag something in. If you double click into that, this will actually allow you to bring in multiple things inside of there. But again, I want to reiterate, tonight isn't about understanding all this, it's about learning the layout and where different things exist. So stick with me here and it will make more sense in future weeks.
Just bridging the gap in my personal vocabulary, this is essentially cross-referencing, using Tableau to help cross-reference things and adjust how it's doing it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Some more examples in there. When I send out the decks, I also tried to not plagiarize, and anytime I stole different visuals, I linked out to those specific things. So if there's concepts that you're interested in, again, we'll cover all of this in a much deeper level in following classes, but all of these are linked as well too. So there's some additional resources out there that will cover this way more in depth than I am if you do want to do some extra work and learn about that stuff. But for this specific course, all that really matters is that we understand it at a high level. Went through all that. Okay, and then I want to talk about dimensions and measures a little bit as well. So again, at a high level, I'm going to get rid of this table. We don't need it for right now. At a high level, Tableau does a pretty decent job of understanding what things are things you'd want to group by, so what things can be dimensions, and what things you'd want to measure by, or what things are measures. But it's pretty elementary how it does it. It basically just looks at your data, and it was like, okay, if it's a string or just a group of text, obviously you can't add up text together. So those are things that you probably want to group by, right? So it tosses them into measure versus these are numbers. These are things that you can easily add up to get sums and averages and standard deviations and stuff like that. So those are going to be measures. I think I misspoke. Dimensions obviously are the text. Measures are obviously the numbers. And that's how out of the box it groups these. So here's all our dimensions, here's all our measures. However, sometimes we may want to do something different with those. So let's say we wanted to understand, like let's look at quantity. We want to understand how many times people order one of something versus how many times people order two of something versus how many times. So we actually want to group by quantity. So let's start a new sheet here. All you need to do to change those around is just drag it up to the dimensions here. So now it shows quantity as a measure. So if we drag it over here, you can see here's all the different quantities that people buy stuff by. And then say we just want to do a real basic count or something. You can see a majority of the time people are buying 2 or 3 of something, sometimes 1, sometimes this, not many people are buying 14 of something. So even though out of the box it thought that quantity was a measure, things we want to measure by, it can also be a dimension, things that we want to group by. So we'll drag stuff back and forth a lot. There's an opposite example, right? So if we drag this over, by default it's a measure, so it's going to sum it all up. But let's say we drag this up here, now it's a dimension. We pull it over here, and we want to understand there are ways that you can measure dimensions as well, right? Say we want to count how many different regions there are. So we're going to measure how many different regions. If we just drag this over, it'll pull them in there as a dimension, but we can click into here and change this to a measure and do a count, right? So now there's a different count, how many different regions are in there. We can change it to a distinct count. So there's 4 regions, that makes sense. All 4 of them exist in here. Again, you don't need to follow along. The important thing is dimensions and measures are out of the box, and Tableau does a great job of sorting them that way. But sometimes we will use dimensions as measures. Sometimes we will use measures as dimensions. Does that make sense? Perfect. And again, there is a link inside the slide deck as well too. That will go into a little bit deeper dive there if you wanted to do some additional learning. Covered that. All right, the last thing, demo already did that. The last thing that I think is important to go through is the difference between continuous and discrete. So continuous is something that has no breaks between it, right? Mainly just numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth. Whereas discrete is specific things that you can easily chunk up, south, west, east, north, things like that. The big piece that we'll go back and forth between is when it comes to dates. So let's say that we bring in our order date here. By default, it chunks it up into 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, right? So these would be dimensions that we are grouping things by in a discrete format. However, and to bring this in, let's bring in the example. So here's our example where you can easily see, here's our 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 in discrete dates. Say we wanted to show this as a let's go continuous here, and let's change this to exact date. So Tableau, when it changes things from discrete to continuous, it changes the color of things. So if it's discrete, it will be blue, and things like year, month, stuff like that are all discrete dates. If it is continuous, like an exact date here, it changes to green, and that will be continuous. So you may hear me say, let's change that to a discrete date, or let's change that to a continuous date. Again, really just trying to hammer home the vocabulary that we'll be using here. Those are kind of the difference there. So a lot of nuances with dimensions, measures, discretes, continuouses. We will cover them in much more depth moving forward. But that pretty much wraps up the key talking points or key kind of modules of Tableau and kind of everything that we'll be covering in this course. Any questions on the discrete versus continuous?
Did it change it from a dimension to a measure and back and forth? Is that the hinting, or is that just an odd quirk about Tableau?
It did not actually change it back and forth between those two from a dimension or measure.
Because otherwise the colors indicate that, right? Except in that one.
Right.
It's okay.
Yep. So you can see over here, if things are blue, they're discrete. So most of the time, all your dimensions are going to be discrete. All your measures are going to be continuous, which is green. But you can see if I change this date over here, convert to continuous. I don't know if you see this in here, but it actually changes the color of that to green as well too, so you can understand the difference between those. And obviously, as we go through more and more examples, that'll make more sense of why it's important. Any other questions?
So basically, discrete is like more general, and continuous is like exact points of data.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Cool. We are going to, actually, let's just do this real quick, and then if people need to leave, they can leave. So for the homework for next week, or for, not next week, sorry, Wednesday, or for tonight, all you guys need to do is just build something. using Tableau. So if you're following along and you already have a sheet up here that looks something like that, that's great. You can be done. If not, I will walk around, answer questions, help you guys get this set up. If you have, I know like 3 or 4 people message me that they need help downloading it or need IT to do it. No worries at all. I won't call on you on Wednesday to come up and present. We're just getting kicked off, so no worries about that. But all you need to do is basically just replicate what we just did. So I'll do it one more time together. There's one piece at the very end of this. So all you'll do is open up Tableau Public, connect to Excel, import your Superstore data, drag over orders, you don't got anything else, and then literally just drag any 2 things that you want over here, call it good, homework done. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, how did you connect to Excel? I'm in the web version and I go to file, but I can't necessarily see where you're connecting to Excel.
That's a good question. I don't work with the web version, so you're like in here?
Yeah, so I downloaded it, but honestly, it went through okay, but I can't find the actual desktop version right now of it on my computer. So I can drag and drop a file, kind of like you have shown.
Yeah. Do you have the file for the Superstore data?
Yeah, I thought I downloaded it, but let me confirm. I just went to sample data is the first one where it said Superstore sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded that. I can drag it over.
Yeah, then you should be good to go.
Okay.
And then do you have the screen?
Let me pull up here.
Yeah, despite the terminology of connect to Excel, I think it's just asking for an Excel file, not the actual program.
Yeah, when I do that, then it's showing what you're showing right now. Sorry about that.
Cool.
It's just looking different for a little bit.
No worries. This is good practice for me too. Then you should just be able to drag orders straight over to your sheet here and have something, sorry, I'm so zoomed out. Have something super similar to what we were looking like.
Okay.
So I will walk around, answer questions when you guys get to this point. If you are to this point, all I ask is before you dip out, spend at least 5 to 10 minutes trying some different things. Let's bring region in here. Let's swap them around. Let's click into show me, maybe try a pie chart. Let's build a couple different sheets. Just familiarize yourself with everything that we just worked together on. Maybe try bringing a date in there, but really, really loose requirements. Just build something. When you have something that you think is good and feel familiar enough, want to call it a night, all you have to do here is click save. It may ask you to sign into Tableau Public again. I signed in before class started here, so I'm already signed in. And then just call this something that you'll be able to remember, ODSA, fall 2024, night number 1. And then when you click save, this is what I was talking about. It won't actually save it locally. It will publish it to Tableau Public. So next week, what we'll do, I keep saying next week. On Wednesday, what we'll do is we will have not everyone, I'll have 4 or 5 people come up randomly to make it fair, of course. And you guys will just pull open here's my portfolio that I showed earlier. Here's the one I just published, ODSA Fall 2024, night number 1. And this is what we'll walk through. So requirements, open up Tableau, pull in the orders data, play around, build something, click save and publish, and call it good. Try to spend, you guys can obviously leave right now if you want, but please spend at least 5 to 10 minutes playing around, and then feel free to dip out. People that are not able to download it yet, feel free to stick around if other people have questions. Otherwise, if there's nothing for you to do, I totally understand that as well too. And if you have questions or trying to build something, I will be here again for the next hour and a half, so we can spend as long or as little as you guys want. But that's pretty much it for night 1. We'll spend some time now building out the homework and call it good. Do you guys all have Tableau downloaded, Superstore downloaded? Okay, cool. Feel free to just raise your hand or whatever if you have questions, and I'll pop around. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. So I spent the whole time trying to track this tab here. It wasn't working. It was after you walked through that again. So I realized it's actually everywhere that's under. We should not try.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, now that you have orders in there, you should be good. If you click in the sheet one there, should have the everything that you need there.
Okay, then this will issue for orders.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, for sure. And then people remote, if you have questions, just unmute and chime in. I wish there was like a nice raise hand feature or something in here. But if you just make some sort of noise, I'll come over and help you guys out.
I hate to keep being the one to ask all the a lot of questions every time,
Totally
but so I dragged orders over into the sheet then after I got this Superstore on the what web version. How did you get it to where everything's showing on the left, like your tables and all that from here?
Yeah, so all you need to do is click into sheet one down at the bottom there.
Okay. And is that easy?
It should be. I'm doing it right now for the first
I'm
time.
following along with you too right now. Oh.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Oh, I guess mine doesn't. Okay, never mind. I found it. Thank you.
Yep, for sure. And then I think for you, Marcus, when you go to publish, instead of hitting save or anything here, hit this publish as button here.
Okay.
And then that should publish it the same way that people doing it from desktop is.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I have it's downloaded, but for some reason it just keeps taking me back to download when I click on the icon. So I'm not sure why.
No worries at all.
I'm having some trouble uploading the data into Tableau. I'm using the desktop version because I'm having trouble downloading the app.
So are you sorry the web version like this or
the web version?
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me close out of this and I will start from scratch. I actually kind of like this web version here. It's not something that I use a ton, but super handy. So you'll go into web authoring. I think you're probably already there. And then as long as you have the data set downloaded, all you need to do is just drag and drop it into that kind of data upload module that it had. And then does it put you somewhere, like are you seeing what I'm seeing now?
No. Did it let you access data source, that tab from the beginning?
Let me see. Yeah, so I actually didn't click into data source at all. Do you have this kind of view?
Yeah.
Cool. So you can either like upload from computer and select your file from downloads in here and just click into it. Or if you already have it open here, you can just drag and drop it onto there as well too. Did that work for you, Xavier?
It might be my internet. I'm gonna keep playing with it.
Okay. You guys all doing okay? Sweet. Another potentially helpful trick if you guys are creating multiple sheets, if you're getting annoyed by them all being titled sheet 1, sheet 2, all you need to do is right click into that and there's a rename option. If you guys want to name them something a little bit more descriptive of what they're actually showing. Just a little easier to keep track of.
Is there a way you can expand your graph just make it a little bit easier to read? I have the states going right now. Oh.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I will.
I see the little arrows actually. Never mind. It didn't really help as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different ways to make stuff more readable in Tableau. And hate to keep saying this, but definitely something that we'll cover later on. So great question. Yeah, if you had something like state and sales or whatever,
That's kind of what I'm going right now.
To like expand them out in this way if you wanted. If you wanted to like make them bigger.
There we go.
Yeah, let's not get into it. It's a whole big thing.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I think I got it to a decent spot right now. So
One of the things that's weird on mine is the dimensions and the orders are like disappearing. I don't know if that's
Let's see. Oh, gotcha. If you just click that little arrow right there. Yeah. So if you have multiple tables in there, sometimes it will like collapse some of them.
I was talking about right here.
Oh. Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah, so when you do when you click these different show me options here, it will actually move these things around for you based on where they need to be. And it will bring in different things and order them in different ways. So like if you wanted to make this from scratch, this is where you would need to draw everything or drag everything. But show me actually moves them around for you to kind of build those out of the box business. Yep.
Well, how do I submit this thing?
Yeah. So all you need to do is just hit the save button right there. And then sign in.
So I can most use business design. Yeah, we're gonna do this whole platform totally for free, but everything is gonna be public.
Yeah.
Which data is like the most sensitive thing
Right.
in any company.
Yeah, it's tough because like I've had classes before where people want to do like some really, really cool stuff using their data. I'm like, I just can't let you do that. Unfortunately. And then yeah, you just want to call it like 9-1 or something. Okay.
How was it you wanted us to label this when we save it?
If you just call it night 1, that's totally fine. Whatever you want it, whatever works best for you.
Okay.
Yes, and now you should have. So make sure it goes through. Well, it's not just me. Yeah, so there you go. So then if you click on like your little icon up here,
Right here?
search go up a little bit. A little. See my profile. Anyways, it should be right here. And then by the end of the class, we'll have 8 different ones popped up in there. And that's what we'll use to share next week.
Is it illegal if you do a project and then just screenshot it?
No. Totally fine.
Okay.
Oh, you mean like from Tableau Public? Yeah, smart. Yeah, as long as you don't hit save. There are, what I've had some people do in the past before, there are free trials for like Tableau Desktop, which will allow you to save it locally. Yeah, try Tableau for free.
Okay.
I've had people do that because the course is only 4 weeks, so you could use it for free for 4 weeks and just grind out whatever you need to do. But then obviously when the trial's up, you're kind of screwed there.
This Tableau is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
It's like Adobe price, right?
What?
It's like Adobe price, right? $60.
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've looked at it, and there's also so many different versions of it.
That's true. Yeah, they get really expensive fast.
Yeah.
I feel like I paid for it for a while for a project. Oh shit. No, 35.
Yeah, because like this is just to view things though. Then this is like you want to like have some self-serve filtering to actually create stuff. Is this one?
Dang. Can you get education discounts?
I think they do have free. I was looking at it earlier. Oh, I don't want Einstein. I think it did say free student and teacher licenses, at least for a year. Student or teacher get free 1-year license.
All right, guys.
Yep.
This was awesome.
Yeah, see ya. Make sure to keep check Slack somewhat regularly. I'll send out YouTube link, slide deck, Tableau public link, and then I'll send out the agenda for Wednesday as well and stuff. So all communication will be through Slack.
Thank you.
Yep, for sure. Have a great night. Drive safe.
Requires the school issue email. Data science needs to give us free email addresses.
Yeah, they should. At ODSA.edu.
We could probably all use an alias like Nate's.
Yeah. I wonder, yeah. That's a good question. I feel like you should. That might actually be worth exploring because then we could all use Tableau desktop for this class.
Yeah, for like a year or two.
Yeah. I may bug him about that. I'm not sure how much what it takes to spin up like your own email domain, but I know that they're like going through the process of getting accredited and stuff, so I feel like it should be fairly straightforward to get a .edu domain.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think if you're not really trying to use the email very much, you could probably just like spin up a cheap server, or if you have it, it's like sitting around, just like use it as just like
That's actually a really good idea.
Forward to the student's email, maybe.
Right.
Forwarder. I actually probably had a server sitting around. I could do that.
There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah. Just be like ODSA .edu.
Yeah. I actually still have my college email. I don't know why they haven't taken it away from me or like turned it off, but I just signed up for a Costco membership a couple months ago and like gave them that email. And they're like, oh, get the student discount. I'm like, sweet.
That's awesome.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Good night.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I've been just clicking around and.
Yeah, perfect.
And I noticed that this corporate changes depending on what you put here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that supposed to be like that or am I doing something?
Yeah, no, it is. And what's nice, so like if you hover over one of the gray ones, it'll say for stack bars, you need one or more dimensions, one or more measures. So it actually gives you a hint on like what you would need. So like here, you have just 2 dimensions in there. But if you were to bring up, just drag like sales or something up there. Yeah, in either one, it doesn't really matter. Then you should see.
So this will count as one dimension?
Each one of those would be considered a dimension. Yep. So now those things unlock because you have the right things that you need to make this. So I'll only show you or help you make things based on the data that you have put in there, but then the ones that aren't. So now like you could hover over like one of these other gray ones. And this one, it says it needs a date to build, right? So that you would know if you want a date, you drag a date in. So it's actually really helpful for when you're just getting started. Like, kind of dirty little secret, I actually don't know how to make a pie chart from scratch in Tableau. I always just drag the stuff I need up there and then click that button and it builds me for you, or builds it for you. So yeah, we'll use it. We'll take advantage of it a ton in this class.
So do we just bring the stuff here and then save it?
Yep, so if you just click save.
Even if there's no like graph bar chart?
Try to build a graph or bar chart real quick. simple. And then you just hit save and it should automatically publish it for you. I can pop back over if you need help.
All right. Good night, everyone.
I'm having a little bit of trouble visualizing stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the data for some reason is showing up as like ABC.
Okay. What do you have on your columns and rows right now?
Let's see. Go back to it. So I've been trying to drag more stuff in because it's not really giving me any options when I go to show. At segment, sales, profit, year-to-date order, and year-to-date ship.
Okay. If you have just like two, well, really any dimensions, the ABC is pretty much just what Tableau uses as a filler if it doesn't have a measure in there. So like we're grouping by category right here, but we're not measuring anything, so it just brings that in. So if you bring in, different, let's do something easier, like different things in here, it will just keep those as ABC. But as soon as you bring in like sales or something, then it will actually make the charts for you. So if you just bring in one of these measures down below, anywhere up in there, it should start making some charts for you.
Okay.
Let me know if that doesn't work and we can try something else.
Okay. I think it's starting to work now. I got it.
Sweet.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then we just save it under night one, I think.
Yep, that works great.
And when is the course going to be on YouTube?
As soon as I hit stop recording here. So
Oh, okay. So by
I'll send the
before
link.
Wednesday.
Oh yeah, it'll be in the next 20 minutes or so.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a fantastic night. Get home safe.
Thank you.